welcome, welcome. It is a brand new baby year, and this is our first podcast recording of 2025. So, thank you so much for being with us. I'm Maeve Langford, calling in from Cork in the Republic of Ireland, and I'm with the amazing Gary Benoit, all the way from Edmonton in Canada. Gary's a retired police officer, he's the author of A Call for Service, and licensed in the financial industry, doing an amazing job in that space. And I'm hoping that might be something that we come together on in 2025, Gary, looking at prosperity and
Mhm.
finances in our lives. So we'll just seed that little one for today.
Mhm.
And here we are, brand new baby year, never before lived year. And today is all about what we can do to set our intention for a great 2025.
For
So,
sure.
Gary, what would you like to lead with on setting yourself up for success in
Oh boy.
2025?
Well, it's great. One, thanks for the intro. As always, it's always great to be here. It's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to have you listeners on. It is a brand new year, 2025. I mean, there's so much potential in this next year. Like we really have no idea. We're gonna live the next 365 days anyway, right? And so you want to be intentional with what it looks like. And so I just it excites me in such a way. Um, it the years moving forward. I'm like, oh, man, I want to take I want to like as Henry David Thoreau said, I want to suck the marrow out of the next year, right? I want to really get everything I can out of this next year. And to do that, I think it has to be um, with the intention for the year. What does it look like for you? Like, what are the three things you
Yeah.
want to do in the year that you want to get done, or whatever? What is that? We're talking about like the vision for the year. What does it look like for you at the end of the year? Right. And I think, we talk about visioning lots in our work. We use it to our advantage as much as we can. And we tap into our vision every morning. At least I do. I've been doing it for the last number of months. And it's become a real practice in my daily routines. But ultimately, I've broken it down to like the end of the year. Like my vision is for 1 year at a time. And the reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that I can really lean into what it looks like. So having that overall arching vision for what the end of the year. So if we were to talk again now, if we were to say it's 2026, January 1st, and we're going to say, well, what did it look like last year and what did you achieve? What does that look like for you? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to become? Who do you want to grow into?
Yeah.
Right? Is it a better
Because it's always about growth,
for sure?
right?
Right?
So again, it's
Absolutely.
not always about maybe more money or growth in our career. It
No,
doesn't preclude that at all, for
for sure.
sure. I know for you and I, that's something we want to expand in. But for you listening, really inviting you to think about your full life. So it could be your health, it could be your relationships, it could be your, well, in fact, it should be, not should, but ideally, you'd be including all of them, right?
Hmm.
Health, relationships, vocation, how you share your talent in the world, and time and money freedom. And, maybe this year you want a bit more work and a bit less of something else, but you want, wherever you want growth, you don't want it to be at the expense of something else that you also
No.
want. So it's having that kind of both and I can have this success and that success. I can have better family life and better health. I can have better
Hmm.
family life and better career impact. I can
Hmm.
have better career impact and better holidays. So it's looking at, like, if you could really have it all on your terms, right? Again, for all of us here listening, and you and I, Gary, like, we're all going to want different things. Success is really what you want,
Hmm.
as defined by each of us individually. But if you could have a year of life that you would absolutely love, what would it be? And
Right.
that's the starting point.
Correct. Like, we just answer that question. What would I love to reflect on in 2026, January 1st? If I'm reflecting on my year at the end of the year
Mhm.
next year, what am I reflecting on? What does it look like to reflect on an amazing year of life lived?
Yeah.
Um, and really, and I think it's I think it's really more such an important piece to know that if you're intentional with your decisions, moving forward to get to there, you'll have greater success, right? The intention is really about really paying attention, not to what's happening, right? Not just living life as it comes.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
one
Absolutely.
of those tools that we use, right, is the calendar,
Yes, for
right?
sure.
Right. And so, like, if you were to fill your calendar, if you think about a calendar and your intentions for the year, we talk about what would you love at the end of the year? Well, how would you love your calendar to look like if you look back on it at the end of the year?
And even now, right? Say, I don't know if you had an intention for I don't know, getting fit in
Mhm.
2026, 2025. Sorry, I'm getting confused because we're talking
Yep.
different numbers. But 2025, if I wanted to get fitter, and for me that I mean I know for sure in my diary is some kayaking, right? This is something
That's
that
amazing.
Andrew and I want to do more of together. So it's a plus for me on the relationship side. It's a plus for me on the health side that we have this extra activity together. So what I would be saying and what I'd be expecting to see in my own calendar or my own diary, we'd probably say more often here in Ireland, you would have that. If you looked at my diary, you'd see kayaking scheduled in on the weekends.
Mhm.
So for any of us, as we're building our intention for the year and we're talking about using your diary or your calendar as a tool to support that, if your spouse or your best friend looked at your calendar, would they be able to tell what your goals were for the year
Right.
based on what they saw in it? And that's what we're aiming for. That the things that I'm setting as my intentions in January 2025, that I'm saying I want to have success with this during this calendar year, that needs to be prioritized and scheduled.
Mhm.
And like you said, it's not going to happen on top of all the daily trivia and busyness that typically fills our calendars if we're not intentional about what we're
Hundred
putting in there.
100%, right? Like we often go to our calendar to see what's available in time.
Yeah,
Let me check my calendar and see if I have time. That's a common phrase in almost everybody that I know.
yeah,
We would love to just sort of flip that a little bit and say, well, what would I love in my calendar so that I have the amazing, right? So you put those things in your calendar ahead of time instead of looking to the calendar for what's available. What would you love to have
you
available?
tell it,
You
you
tell it.
tell
You
your
tell the calendar,
calendar. Yes.
I'm going to have a Saturday afternoon kayak for 2 hours or an hour, whatever that looks like, with my
Yeah,
husband, which is amazing. I think that's one, that's a great fitness goal. Two, it's a great couple activity. And you
yeah,
get to spend that time together and you can have, all the things that are going to come out of that are going to be so much more full than you can even
yeah,
imagine, probably. Right. You know what I'm saying? Which is
yeah,
so cool, right?
exactly.
And so by
Yeah,
by telling your calendar, I want to do this, then ultimately it becomes more important and will end up manifesting.
yeah. I often say to my clients, we talk about everything is created twice, right? First in the
Mhm.
mind, in the setting of the intention in the mind, building the image and the picture for all of it, and then in form, then in our lived reality. And one of the first steps in terms of bringing something from the mind into form is to calendarize it, to actually write it down.
Mhm.
So I can commit now and again set yourself up for success, right? So for me, once a month to go kayaking together is success. If I were to put that in, every Saturday for 52 weeks, not likely. Okay. So again, knowing what you want to experience and what success looks like, then set yourself up for that kind of
For sure.
success. Don't make it a daily activity if it's really a once a week activity.
Right. Absolutely. You got to be honest with yourself. And like, we talk about planning these calendars, planning your year, looking at your year in that way. Take some time to, I would suggest, or I would have you consider taking more than an hour to do this. I would literally, if you had some time to dedicate to this, we lean in for this for 3 days, right?
Yeah.
Like we do this over a 3 day period. I think next year it's scheduled for a 4 day period. Like we take 4 full days or 3 full days to really consider all of the things that you just mentioned. I would love to do it once a week, but I realize that that's not going to happen once a week. I know it's not going to happen. So what would be a great alternative? What would be a success? Like what is the actual, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what? Once every 3 weeks, once every month would be amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So you be
And
honest with yourself and sort of figure that out. Like it's okay and take time to really consider it because it's important because you want to have that success. And it doesn't mean it can't change throughout the year, but
yeah, you could certainly build up to
mhm,
more frequency or whatever. I mean, if there was something that like I absolutely knew I wanted this in my diary as a weekly commitment, and so like you don't absolutely have to have it nailed that it's going to happen. You could still be putting it in your diary as a weekly
for
commitment
sure.
to anchor it and then start taking the action that you can take. And I would say to a certain extent, leave yourself off the hook if weekly is a big stretch for you at the minute, but you could still put it in there.
Hmm.
Um, but if I know for me with the kayaking, I don't even want it every week. Do you know what I mean? If
Hmm.
I could have that once a month, that would be
Perfect.
definitely I would be celebrating that as a
Yeah.
success at the end of
Awesome.
25. So again, I think it might be worth just mentioning here in the context of intention and vision that the vision is really big picture stuff, and we
Absolutely.
don't necessarily know how we're going to achieve it or even whether we could achieve it. We just know we want it. And I think that's what's really important about, distinguishing what is our vision really. It's big picture that we know we would love, but we don't have to know how we're going to achieve
Correct.
it
Yeah.
or when we're
And
going to achieve
and then
it.
that's a great point because I want to the when I was going to touch on that a little bit because last year we looked at my wife and I, of course, we have our three wildly important goals essentially for the year, right?
Yeah.
We hit one of the three. So there was two
Okay.
on the list that we didn't come close to. That's a lie. We were close, but we didn't hit it. We didn't hit two of them. So that being said, they're on the list for next year because they're still really, really important to us.
Yeah.
But we've actually increased them because, like, I think the idea that we stretched for a week because it was a stretch. We put those on the paper last year and we looked at them down. There it was a stretch for us. Maybe we had like to get there, and I mean like really beyond what we were could even see for ourselves.
Are comfortable with. Yeah.
Super, like it was not comfortable to put that on the paper. But the thing is that if we hadn't stretched that far, we wouldn't have grown so much,
Oh, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And
And thank you for your
so
honesty
yeah,
in
like
saying, we didn't hit
we
two of
didn't hit
them. But
those.
you,
It's okay. And really like we're super it's going to be exciting for this year because I believe we're going to get there this year. Does that make sense? It's going to be awesome.
yeah. Yeah. And oftentimes like and so with visioning, like when I do a vision workshop or when you do this work, Gary, we often take a 3-year time frame because
Hmm.
we actually don't know what's fully
For sure.
achievable in 12 months. And the mind will go to, well, what did you achieve last year? And it'll take its measure from there. But our vision is bigger than what's measurable. It's what would I love?
Yeah.
So encouraging each of you as you're listening, what would you really love? If you could hit it, what would be the
Hmm.
stretch goal? And
Hmm.
always I just love Bob Proctor's quote around goals because he says goals are for growing. They're not for getting.
Yes.
And so I think when we take the pressure off ourselves and say, I don't have to absolutely hit this, but I can grow in the attempt to get there. I
Yes.
might get there. I might get some of the way, I might get all of the way, but any which way I'm going to be growing because I'm going to be beyond where I am at the minute.
Absolutely.
So really like encouraging ambition around the vision and the growth and the goals. And then just I think being intentional about that. And then, like you said, to be intentional about the decision, because I think that's one of the big missing things when people set their New Year's resolutions. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do
Mm.
that. And we tell everybody a lot of the time. But then we've never really made the decision
Correct.
that I'm actually doing this thing.
Right.
Like, if it's getting fit, I'm not just saying it, I'm not just even buying the gym membership, but I am committing to turning up. once a week, twice a
For
week,
sure.
7 times a week, whatever your commitment is. But it's really looking at making that decision and then setting yourself up to do it. So what habits do you need to put in place
Right.
that are going to support
For sure.
the goals?
And I think too, like when you look at the, you set the intention. Like we often New Year's resolutions, right? We always lot like common hour thinking as well. I'll just set a few of these resolutions and it'll be fine. Usually it's a vague resolution. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to whatever.
Well
It,
observed,
right.
yes.
It's just very kind of vague, right? Well, what does that mean? What does that mean to lose weight? What is it? What's that number on it? What's the time frame? If you buy it, maybe I'm going to go get a gym membership. Okay, perfect. You're going to get a gym membership. You buy one, but if you never go to the gym to work out, nothing's going to change, right?
I remember saying to a group once, and I hadn't really, I was just kind of thinking out loud, and I said to them that I thought that if I was a person who bought a Nutri blender, those
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I said if I bought one, I'd be someone who used one. But it didn't work that way.
No,
So I mean, you need to have it to be able to use it, but having it on the counter doesn't mean you actually use it unless you
correct.
actually use it.
Correct. And that's the
So,
intention piece, that's the decision piece, right? When you
yes.
decide you're going to go get fit and you decide to do this and you're going to just do whatever it takes to get that done and you buy the gym membership. Well, now if you're intentional with it and you've decided for it, you're going to utilize that gym membership to get yourself down the road, right?
Yeah,
Uh, like I said, if you're not working out, there's no way for you you can't change if you're not doing something to change, right? If you're not taking the action steps, right? And I think that those
exactly.
those action steps really is about being in alignment with the vision that you have for yourself, as well as it needs to be almost become habit forming, right? In a way like this, some of those action
Yeah,
steps, especially if it's around like fitness. I find fitness especially is like it's more of a habit to go to the gym
yeah.
or a habit to, whatever that looks like for you. It may not be the gym. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's going hiking. Maybe it's, I don't know,
I don't know,
whatever.
baking
Yeah,
healthy bread options or
whatever,
something.
right?
Yeah.
Like maybe, yeah, it's creating better meal plans or whatever that looks like for you. It doesn't have to be going to the gym. I just use that as an analogy because it's fresh on my
Yeah,
mind because it's something that I want to do. But
yeah, and again, so maybe to just throw a few other examples in there. I mean, often I might have clients who either want to write a book or they need to write a grant or they need to write an article for a publication of some kind. So again, it's like if you need to write, you need to be writing,
mm-hmm,
right? Writers
mm-hmm,
write.
mm-hmm,
So like half an hour a day. And again, we tell ourselves, oh, I need a whole weekend blocked off or I need whole chunks of time. And I would say no, like writers write. So 30 minutes a day and build it up. But suddenly then you're the person who's doing that thing. Like you said, we're aligned with the vision. Now
mm-hmm,
I'm writing.
mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to the gym. Now I'm taking the healthy option. If I want to meet somebody, a significant other, well, it's not going to happen sat at home on the couch, right?
And
I
no,
have I have to be
not
out
likely.
there, whether that's, joining a club or, going on a hike or joining a choir or going online dating or just telling your friends set me up on blind
Yeah,
dates, like whatever
whatever.
it
Yeah.
is, it doesn't
Mm-hmm,
matter, but you need to be in action. Yeah, there has to be action because action is really the evidence that you've made the decision.
mm-hmm.
In the absence of action, it's still just a nice idea.
Right. I think that, anytime if you couple your vision and your goals and you couple it with that action, right, you're really bringing your vibration level up. We're talking about
Yes.
matching your vibration, right, to the vision that you would love to see. If you
Yes.
never take action on it, you're just telling the universe you're not ready for it,
Yeah.
right? Like you need to take a claim. I'm gonna do this, universe. I'm gonna take my steps to do this, and this is the step I have to take right now.
Yeah.
Even though it may seem like a silly step or something that's small to you in that way, really, truthfully, until you start taking the step, nothing will show up for you to change.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Jim Carrey, right, talks to Oprah and he tells the story about visioning, about getting paid $10 million for a movie role. And he talks about going up to the Hollywood Hills and pretending to be on his phone and talking to producers until he can really feel that energy and sort of like, in that way. And then, eventually he lands a role in Dumb and Dumber and he gets paid $10 million for that particular role. Um, Unprecedented at the time. In that moment, that was one of the first times an actor had been paid for his services in that way with that much money. Um, and Oprah made a comment to him about, well, I guess this visioning thing really works. And he's like, well, yeah, visioning works, but you just can't sit on the couch and eat a sandwich after you vision it. You have to still do the action steps.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was still
Yeah.
applying to the roles. He was still doing the auditions. He was still doing whatever he needed to be doing, the comedy acts, all the stuff that was getting him down the road, the steps he could
Yes.
take in
Yes.
service of that big, grander vision. Right. And he had no idea
Yes.
how he was going to get to that $10 million paycheck. That's something he didn't know.
And
Right.
he didn't have to know.
He didn't
That's the
have to know,
thing.
right? He just had to do the
Yeah,
steps that were there in front of him, right? And so he visioned for it.
exactly.
He felt it. And so that action is the real power inside of all of this. Like
Yeah.
we can talk visions and ideas and these in our minds. We live in that world all day long. But until you do
But
something
it's
about
only
it,
the starting
yeah,
point.
that's exactly
Yeah,
right.
on its own, it's not going to do it. We
Till,
need it. We need to know
yeah,
where we want to get
absolutely,
to, but it is only the starting
for
point.
sure.
Then
Yes,
it
you just.
is both the mindset in terms of, thinking in
Hmm.
alignment with that. So if I'm saying I want to meet the love of my life and I'm also saying, well, all the good ones are gone,
Yeah,
it's not aligned, right? So
100%.
you
That's
you
not
have to
congruent.
shift the mindset. You have to shift the mindset, and then like you said, you have to be in action. And
Yeah.
there's a piece in all of that around believing that you deserve the better result, right?
Yes.
That you deserve your vision, that you deserve your intention and your dreams to come true. And again, we could talk about this all day. We could do a whole workshop on deserving.
Yes.
But for everybody listening today, just to say to you, the only thing you need to know about whether or not you're deserving of your vision is that you woke up today. You woke up. You can't make yourself wake up. You can't cause yourself to wake up. You were gifted waking up, and it's very special that it's the 1st of January we woke up, right? And it's like spirit, life, God, love, the universe. Again, you can call it what you will and identify with it as you will, but we were everybody here on the call today, we were gifted another day of life, and all going well, we'll be gifted another year of life if we get to
Correct.
wake up. And that's all we need to know. Do I deserve it? Yes, because you woke up, and that spirit saying to you, go have at it.
Hmm.
Do it. You
Hmm.
deserve it. So I hope that's a helpful kind of shorthand, because typically, as we go into adulthood, we've stopped really knowing we deserve it. If you think of small kids, and we've just had Christmas, right? They're like, bring it on, bring it on. I want that thing. I love that thing. Bring it on. And no matter how much you give them, and sometimes we blame kids for this, but no matter how much we give them, they're kind of like, and what's next? And what's next? Because it's limitless, right? It
Hmm.
is limitless.
Hmm.
But as adults, we've gotten into, oh, I can't have, or I don't deserve, or I'm not good enough, or, they can have it, but I can't. And you just want to let that one, just put that one down,
Hmm.
just put it down. And that could be part of our intention for
For sure.
2025, right? That I'm just going to grow in my own sense of deserving and allow the good in,
For sure. The other thing too is that you cannot dream a dream that can't be brought to manifestation.
Yes.
Right. The dream that you've received, or the idea that's been put into your mind or your heart or your soul or whatever that looks like for you, it was put there by someone greater than us or something greater than
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not just your dream. This is God's dream for you. This is the universe's dream for you. This is so they wouldn't give it to you if you didn't deserve it.
Yeah. And they
And
wouldn't give it to you if you couldn't have it.
correct.
And that's why, we've been saying on this call or this podcast that you just to lean into like what would I love and to suspend the how, because you're not supposed to know the how. The way our mentor says it is that I don't need to know the how, but I know the how is known. Infinite intelligence, God, life, the universe, spirit knows exactly how to bring your vision to fruition.
Yeah.
And your job is to get clear about what it is. My job is to be clear about what it is, and then to take the steps that I can take, that I'm guided to take. Sometimes that's managing my mindset, sometimes that's being in action, sometimes it's both. And I just keep doing it, and I keep my focus and my attention on my intention.
Mhm.
And I just keep going with that, and that expectation piece, that in the same way as, if you or I, we go in, you might order, I don't know, what do you order in a coffee shop, Gary? What's your
Well,
beverage of
I
choice?
love black coffee, just black coffee. Just a cup
Well,
of
there
black
you
coffee
go.
would be
We're well
amazing.
met. I'm the same. Give me an Americano or filter coffee even. I don't
Yeah.
mind, just black, no frills.
Yep.
Um, but like when we order that drink, that's what we expect to come, right?
Yes.
We don't expect, I don't expect
A
milk
latte.
in
Yeah.
mine,
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
I don't want the flavors. And if I got them, I'd be sending it back saying that's not it. So we want to get into this idea that in the same way as when we order something in the store or in the coffee shop, and they bring us what we asked for, and we're not surprised, we're not excited, we're just
Nope.
like, thank you,
Yeah. Exactly.
lovely.
Yeah.
We want to have that same sense with our vision, as I'm putting, like, your vision is your prayer, as some people would say, or that's my order, my cosmic order. And you want to have the same expectation that it's going to come to you as you do when you ask for an Americano rather than anything else. And part of that is the deserving piece. I think that yes, I can have it. I'm good enough. I'm worthy of it. But it's also just that, yeah, like if I've created it in my mind, like you said, if I can see it in my mind, I can hold it in my hand,
Hmm.
and really building that believing. And some of that just comes from doing the work and seeing the progress. Like you said, you didn't get all of your goals in 2024, but you got one, you nailed one, you made progress on the other two, but you fully expect, Gary, that it's coming in
Yes.
2025.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that expectation is there. So for everybody listening, that's what we're doing here when we create the vision. It's not like wishing and hoping and praying. It's like I'm creating this vision. The only thing I need to know is, do I love it? Yes. And then I just stay focused on it. And some of that focus is with my attention. Am I looking at, it's not here yet, or am I looking at, I'm on my way, this
Yeah.
is where I'm going, it's
Yeah.
happening? And then, again, my attention, like, does my diary reflect it? Like, am I putting my life force energy, my time, am I committing that to what my intention
Correct.
is?
Yeah. And you talk about hope and pray. And in the beginning, if you're new to this, it might feel like a hope or a prayer, or
Yeah,
maybe both, a hope and a prayer. Just know that you can attach your belief or the lack of belief to somebody else's belief. We both here
yeah,
sitting here know it's possible for you.
yeah,
We know whatever you've decided to lean into, and you do whatever, we know it's totally possible for you. And so lean on someone else's belief if you need to, because I
yeah.
know I did for a while. When I first started this
Well
work,
said.
I couldn't believe it
Yeah,
really for myself because it didn't make sense in my mind, but I just trusted because I had a great mentor who believed it so strongly for me. I'm like, well, I'm just
yeah.
going to trust it. If she believes it, I'll just trust in her in this moment.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, great,
And
great, yeah,
and then
great reminder
until I
for
developed
everyone.
my own belief. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I can look back now, I can see the evidence of the work I've done and I have, right, that kind of stuff. So I think that's really, really important to know that it,
Yeah,
it
and
may it
what
may feel like that, but you can attach to somebody else's belief.
yeah, believe in someone else's believing, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is, how do we build our own believing? It's through the repetition, right? And the relation, the constant relating with the vision itself. So that's why we talk about a daily practice here, like tuning into your vision every single day.
Yeah.
Whether you say it out loud to yourself, whether you write it to yourself, whether you have a vision board and you look at it and speak some of it to yourself, whether record it and have it on your headset when you go for a walk. But like every day, if you're saying to yourself every day, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm meeting these targets, and I'm walking more, and I've met the guy or I've met the girl, and I'm in the home, and I'm loving the impact I'm having. If you're saying that to yourself every single day over and over and over again, you're building that believing, because a belief is just a thought that we've had repeatedly, right? So if I'm repeating that to myself every day over and over, then I'm imprinting that into my unconscious thought as well. And I'm building that repetition of thought and belief so that it's being imprinted, and suddenly it becomes my actual belief that I still mightn't be in the relationship, but now I'm fully believing I can have it, and that
Hmm.
it's coming to me because I'm acting and speaking and behaving as if. And sometimes it's just, staying in that long enough for it to concretize into form.
Fair. Yeah, you want to be in that secure state right inside. So you got to feel it inside of yourself first before it manifests in the outside world, right? So the
Exactly.
inside security before outside manifestation. As we
Yeah.
wrap up the day, as we wrap up this very first day of the year, as a in the podcast, um, what's one thing they can look toward, or maybe something they can do in the next day or so to really set their year off straight and on the right path.
Well, I only thought of this now as you're saying it, right? But I am going to say for anybody who's in Ireland or who is willing to travel to Cork, if you're not already signed up for the vision workshop, I would say come to my vision workshop the end
Absolutely.
of the month. It's the 24th to the 26th of January, and it's 3 days to really nail your vision. We'll spend the first day on nailing your vision. The second day is on like building your believing in the vision and how do I overcome some of the paradigms and the challenge in me around it, in you, each of us for our own vision. And then the last day we look at what are my action steps, and
Yeah.
I teach everybody there a system and a process for always being able to identify what's my next action step to take. And for our listeners in Edmonton, there's the equivalent type of workshop for you there as well. And Gary, you're there on the spot if people want to reach out
Yeah.
and get some support with their vision. So there's definitely ways and means for everybody on the call today to get more support. There's a link in the information with the podcast. There's a link to a little workbook that I've produced for this time of the year that you can do some self-reflection and self-guidance through that visioning and action step process as well. So
Awesome.
I would say like it's the best kind of gift you can give to yourself for
Yeah,
the start of the
for
year
sure.
is to set yourself up with a really clear intention and vision for the year ahead. So that would be my parting shot. I mean,
And
we've
you're
talked through some of it on the podcast itself,
right
but most of us need a bit longer and a
for
bit
time.
more,
Yeah.
and that's easier to do in community most
Yeah.
of the time. So
And yours
come
is
to a
in person,
workshop,
all in person, right?
all in person.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, if you're interested in the workshop that's going to be here, I think it's also in January. I think it's right around the same time as yours.
Yeah, it
It might
is.
even be the
Yeah,
same weekend as yours.
it is. Yeah, it is.
Um, it's here. Reach out to me. I can arrange for you to get a free ticket to that as well. If you're looking to do that, it's in person. It's in Edmonton. There is an online option for the one here in Edmonton as well. So if that appeals to you, we can love
Yeah.
to have that there. Just let me know. I just reach out. It's You can email me at GaryBenoit62 at hotmail.com is where you can email that too. Um, in addition to that, as we finish here, guys, just know that anything in the year is possible for you. You don't need to play small. Play as big as you need to play. I would say play as big as you can think, and then think and play bigger than that, even if you can. know it's all possible for yourselves. I'm excited for the year. I'm excited to see where it goes. I do want to suck the marrow out of the year. I really do. Every year it comes up and I say the same things is because I really want whatever this year is going to give me, and I'm going to be prepared to take it all in, and really push that success as far as I can. Um, if you're looking for, if you're a business group or something like that, looking for a keynote or some sort of like discussion around that stuff around your workplace, around leadership, how to change your mindset within the group or create a better working environment, or some of these tools can apply to some of the stuff you're doing either in your maybe it's a church group or some other groups you're involved in, please reach out. I would love to be a part of that conversation, and I do travel. So that's something I would love to do. As well as, like I say, our Maeve and I are scheming up something for the year. We're trying to figure out if it's going to work in the calendar yet to make sure we have some time to do that. But it may not be 100% this year, depending on what's happening on what's already scheduled. But we'll see if we can get in there for this year for you guys to come and see us live in person in Cork. It'll be in Ireland. So if you're in the island in the beautiful land of the green, there we'll be able to, do it there. So
Absolutely. You might
yeah.
bring a whole contingent
I
from
might bring a whole bunch of
Edmonton,
people.
Gary. You never
You
know.
never know
We'll
what's going
we'll
to
keep it
happen.
open. Yeah.
So, anyways, you guys, I really appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate having you here. Of course, like I say, Maeve and I's our gratitude for you guys is that's beyond what you guys would even expect here. I just love you guys so much. Maeve, is always, superstar, great message. Love what you had to say. Um, Thank you for all
Well,
your
thank
insights.
you.
It's been amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
and like here's to a great year, right?
yeah.
Like 2025 for all of us and for all we'll do with the podcast and for all of you listening in terms of like what you want to create, but also what we create together here in community. We're always open to your ideas and your suggestions and for topics or if you've got questions you want to put to us or ideas you'd like us to explore or revisit even, just let us know. And we really want to serve you and support you in every way
Yes.
possible. So let us know and we'll do our best.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Have a great kickoff to 2025. Happy New Year,
Happy New Year. Happy New
and
Year.
we'll see you in a couple weeks.